Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. Still sounding a little ailed, still not feeling my best. But this is going to be a video discussing the Nintendo Switch press conference where they revealed a bunch of information last night. A lot of people wanted me to stream this because I stream E3 and stuff, and I give my impressions kind of live, and we all chat and have fun and what have you. But this happened at 4 in the morning, so there's no way I could have done that. Instead, I just kind of watched it, took down a couple notes, and hence why I'm making this video. So the first thing I need to say is I have lost a lot of love for Nintendo. I have not really been much of a Nintendo guy since the GameCube, basically. The Wii had some great parts about it, but I never owned one. I played most of the games via friends and via other people. I, of course, purchased a WiiU, thanks to the help of a subscriber, which was amazing. And it has some great games on it, and I do think it's a solid system. I think it's an underappreciated system, and I also think it's an under-supported system, because they've kind of given up on that in face of this thing. And I don't like that. I think that's dickish. So, I'm not excited about Switch. I wasn't excited at all. I went into this press conference very cynical, because portability is not something that I think about when I think about video games. The idea of portability is cool, and it's obviously going to be the future, but if you take any kind of expensive piece of technology anywhere around my village or town, you're going to get mugged. So, I don't know where all these fucking places are where they're in the middle of parks and there's people of every colour all parading around and playing. That doesn't happen where I live. You take your Nintendo Switch to my local park and you'll bump into the drug dealers and you'll probably get stabbed. Like, I don't know how this is going to work, and I don't know who this is for. I see this idyllic picture of people going to college who have a lot of downtime in between lectures and things, and they're all having fun and doing co-op and doing like competitive stuff there. And if you're in that kind of demographic, then this could be absolutely amazing. But where else does this benefit? Is everybody on the train going to get in on this? Is everyone going to suddenly turn into really nice people and play competitively on a train with you? Like, outside of Japan, where does this shit happen? Because I don't see it happening where I live. If you have anything shiny and you have anything somebody else wants, people try to take it, and they don't take it by beating your high score, they take it by being dicks. So, this whole idea of taking it anywhere is a party novelty item to me. And they only last so long. There was only so many parties where Guitar Hero was a big thing. There's only so many parties where Mario Party was a big thing. There's only so many circumstances where this shit can happen before you just move past it. So, fundamentally, in my mind, the Switch is just a gimmick. And it's a gimmick that I don't think anybody needs. But once again, there's definitely a market for it. Because there's a ton of people that were getting excited for this. But here's a couple of pieces of information that they gave. These are all things that are set in stone as far as I know. So the Switch will launch on March 3rd this year, which is way sooner than I think anybody thought it was going to be. I had no idea it was coming out so soon. If you're excited for this, that is awesome news. That's really soon, guys. And if you're a big Nintendo guy, you've got a new Nintendo system coming out. They didn't talk spec, which is kind of terrifying because a lot of the games look like shit. A lot of the games, if it wasn't for Nintendo's gifted art style and fantastic aesthetics, if you just objectively look at the mechanical graphics, they look like trash. They're just fantastic when it comes to stylistic visuals, and they've got to be, because the graphics can't be pushed that high, and the frame rates are worse. So it's literally Nintendo magic that's carrying this entire system forward, because it ain't technical specs. The second piece of information was it's going to cost $299, and it's going to come in 2 different bundles. I think that's kind of expensive for this flimsy piece of shit, but then again, I looked to see the price of the controllers, and you know those little fucking Joy-Con things, those baby-fisted controllers, like those baby-like controllers that don't look like they'd actually fit in a human's hand, and they look flimsy as all hell. You know those 2 controllers? They cost 70 quid, like $70 to buy one of those. $70 for a controller that looks like, my balls are bigger than those controllers, and that's not a compliment. Like, what? It don't make sense. It don't make sense at all. So for the console to be $300, I thought it'd be $200. I really did. With this emphasis on portability, I thought they were going to go for a price cut. I thought they were going to go for a really affordable price and just crush the market with cheapness. And they haven't. They've gone to something that's still pretty cheap compared to the other systems, but I don't think it's cheap enough. I don't think it's going to have the same appeal as it would if it was maybe $250 or $200. But that's the price of it. The controllers, like, one of them is normal coloured, the other one is neon blue and neon red. I don't even know what neon red is, and it didn't look like it to me, but apparently that's what it is. And then they went on to talk about these 3 gameplay modes. So the whole idea of the Switch is that you click your fingers and the scene changes to another Japanese man in a funny looking suit. And then there's the translator, who you either get the confident translator, you either get the semi-competent translator, or you get the one translator who looked like he was, or sounded like he was going to die. Like somebody had a gun to his head and a picture of his family in chains, and he's, I would really like to tell you. Like, come on now. Why would they not just have the best translators? Stop paying these weak ones. Get them out. But these 3 gameplay modes, because you can take the controllers off and you can turn them sideways and they become their own controller, because controllers have now devolved into 1 analog stick, 4 buttons and a bumper, which is not what I want in a controller, but Nintendo know better, of course. You have it in the dock on the telly via HDMI, which is just like a console. Then you have it away from the dock, propped up, and it's just like a portable console. And then you have the controllers on the thing, and then it's just straight up portable. Like, it's all these different ways of doing it. And they sound great, in theory. But the reality of it is, when you take it out of the dock, how does that system suffer? They said the battery life would be anywhere between 3 hours and 6 hours, which generally means it's probably less. Because they always lie on that shit, and it never lasts as long as it should. Are you going to get the same experience when you take it away? I don't think you will. And you might be thinking, well, why you say that, Chris? Why you be so negative? I've got a Wii U. You know when I play on the Wii U screen, as opposed to the Wii U TV, the resolution's like 420p. It looks like dog shit. It runs horribly. And that's just the difference between the screen and the TV. This console is taking that principle and making it a mainstay of the console. There's no way it's going to look the same, or play the same, but it's a good job that half the people that buy this don't know anything about performance, so they don't give a shit. They're just too busy like, oh, Mario! Mario! Like, no. The launch titles that I saw were that 1-2 Switch, which looked horrible. It looked so gimmicky, it looked so Japanesey, like, all I kind of got from it was a Wild West game doing a quick draw that measures your reaction speed, which sounds great for about an hour, and then you'll never play it again. Like, this doesn't even have the longevity of fucking Wii Bowling, because Wii Bowling you could continually play for a while. This is just, who the fuck thinks this is a good idea? I mean, it might be the best experience in your life for the first hour, and then you'll never touch it. So, I can't wait to play 1-2 Switch. And I think the guy who announced that should fire his tailor. But apparently, I think it's going to be like a minigame collection, so there'll be a bunch of stuff. It might be the equivalent of Wii Sport. So chances are this could be the most lucrative part of the package. But they said Breath of the Wild will launch with the console, the new Zelda. And Zelda's a big selling point, but I don't care about Zelda anymore. Like, I think the game looks great. Not so much visually, because I think the game looks kind of bad outside of its artistic value. But the game as itself looks fine, you know, there seems to be a lot of good stuff to it, and I would look forward to playing it. But I'm not buying this for it, because I think, isn't it coming out on Wii U as well? And I'm going to use my fucking Wii U if it kills me, instead of buying another vestigial, unwanted, derelict console I'll never touch. And then I looked a bit on the internet, and they mentioned that it will also have potentially Skylanders Imaginators and Just Dance 2017. So 2 games that, if you care about those games, we will have nothing to talk about if you ever met me in person. So, the next thing they showed was the new Mario, and I was heartbroken instantly, because he's running around like fucking America somewhere. There's lampposts, there's cars, there's skyscrapers that look brown. Like, of all the places to put this awesome character, you put him in the most dullest fucking reality-driven place ever, and I had utmost despair at that moment. I was practically close to slashing my wrists. And then it cut to him in a super colourful kingdomy place doing fun jumps. I'm like, oh my god, thank you. We go to Mario because we want to escape reality. We don't want to run down the main fucking street, past the cat's eyes, to the curb, to see bloody fire hydrants. We don't need that. That's for other games. That's not for Mario. Mario is meant to be fun and happy, and it filled me with joy. Like those Joy controllers. It looked good, you know? I think Mario... You've got to have faith in Mario. The games are always good. Name a bad Mario game. It's tough to do. Especially a part of the main series. Mario 64 for me is one of the most influential games I ever played. I adored it. I liked Mario Sunshine. You know, I liked the old Marios. Just amazing games. Mario is great. I didn't play the Galaxy ones, but I hear they were very good. So that is probably going to be great. People are going to love that. But they said, like, it'll be out in fall, or it'll be out at Christmas. So you don't know when that will be out. So you're going to be waiting forever for that one if it even comes out at all. Cancelled. Microsoft said it'd be better for the gamers. So, it showed Mario Kart 8, 9? I don't know where they are with the numbered series, but Mario Kart's a big seller for this system, I think, because when I was at university, everybody was playing Mario Kart on the DS, and they were all fucking racing each other when they should have been doing work, and it's why most of them fucking failed, but they had a lot of fun. So I know that was popular when I was you know, in that kind of environment where I see this being successful, so I see Mario Kart as a big seller for this. I've never really liked Mario Kart past the N64. I didn't like Double Dash. It did nothing for me. I liked it on the SNES. I liked it on the N64, even though like the computer was rubber banded bullshit. But the racing with your friends, doing the battle arena stuff, all that was great. I always had a ton of fun with that. So even though that's not for me, there's a massive audience for that, definitely. Then they showed fucking Todd Howey, or whatever he's bloody called, and he started talking about Skyrim. That guy pisses me off, right? He's a genius, admittedly. He makes amazing games, but he makes broken games. So instead of just porting Skyrim for the 9 millionth fucking time, how about not relying on mods to fix your shitty game? How about that, Todd? Whatever you're called. That guy frustrates me. New games, fellas. That's all we need, new games. Don't matter if the 9 millionth sequel, but new games should be the draw here. It shouldn't be fucking Skyrim again. Do-do-dun, do-do-dun, do-do-dun-dun. Fuck off. Like, come on. And then they showed FIFA. Who cares about FIFA? 100 bazillion people in the world except for America. Loads of people love FIFA. And that's probably great. But it's FIFA. So no. Like, I could not... There are murderers, serial killers that I care more about than I do FIFA. Like, I have no idea why they do these presentations with this. The entire Japanese crowd are sat there being like, what's FIFA? Which is a complete lie, because I know it's probably quite big in Japan as well. Football is massive in the world for whatever reason. We like watching overpaid idiots herd leather into nets. So then, there's a whole bunch of other things that they mentioned. 80 plus games are coming. And then they did this kind of reel of stuff to look forward to. And some of it was translated, some of it wasn't translated. So you're like, what the fuck is this? One of them was Shin Megami Tensei. And it looked weird as shit and I couldn't read it. And then later on, the guy announced that that's what it was. And then they showed like a Fire Emblem bit where he grabbed a sword and it went off. Then they showed Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which looked like dog shit because it was running in about 7 frames a second. And it was amazing because when it started, it looked really cool. And then as soon as it started moving, it shit the bed. Oh, it was so good. The performance was horrendous. And then they showed Splatoon 2, and they had this super cool Splatoon cosplay doing all this weird... like animated movements, and his narrator was the shyest thing on the planet. Oh, I help you buy Splatoon. And there's the dude doing all these crazy poses. You needed the hypest guy for him, and they didn't have it. It was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. I don't know why that was, but that's what it was. And then they showed a bunch of other games. They showed this Arms game, which looked like shit. It was essentially, it's Punch-Out with stretchy arms and jumping, and I can imagine people having a lot of fun with it, but it did nothing for me. It just looked super casual. It looked like that boxing game in Super Monkey Ball, only Super Monkey Ball looked better. So there's an audience for that, but it ain't me. And then they showed like a really fast snippet of a bunch of stuff. Some people mentioned, I think they saw Bomberman in it. I think they saw a few other things in it. Hopefully an exciting time for all these, you know, third parties that Nintendo doesn't really get. I didn't see anything in that made me go, Jesus Christ, this is time to pick up a Switch. This is time to Switch. I didn't see nothing. Not a single goddamn thing. And then Suda51 guy, Grasshopper dude, came out and mentioned that there's a chance that No More Heroes might be coming back. Travis Touchstone, or whatever he's called. I've never played those games, but I know that they're fantastic because my friends played them and they told me they were fantastic. I would really like to play those games, and I would really like to play a new game. So out of everything I saw in this conference, that was my most exciting moment because it's a character action game that's super goofy and Japanesey, and I enjoy that. So that could be awesome. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Like the conference itself, it was very back and forth and swapping and switching and a lot of clicking your fingers to reveal a new Japanese man wearing a different suit. And that guy who was doing all the hand movements to make it look like magic and stuff. And there was a weird bit where he was talking about the way that they've programmed the rumble now. Gives you the illusion that you're like stirring ice cubes in a glass. Like, oh, who cares, dude? I turned the fucking rumble off. Like, come on now. I appreciate that feedback is great in certain circumstances, and I appreciate Nintendo existed and created Rumble because of the Rumble Pack, and I loved my Rumble Pack. But nowadays, I don't want to get vibration white finger off a fucking controller, so I turned that shit off. This whole idea of, like, they mentioned depth as well, didn't they? Like, there's a depth sensor on the controller which is going to allow new control schemes, and all I can think of is the fucking PlayStation Access thing, where you just flapping the controller around like a twat. Or the moments on Wonderful 101 where you're doing those shooting sections using the controller and you have to physically turn the controller. And when I say physically turn the controller, I'm like 180 degrees facing away from the television because it's the only way I can see the fucking enemy. And it's horrible. Nobody likes that except for Nintendo. So I did some searching for some more information. 80 plus developers, which 80 different games. It could be fucking out, couldn't it? We don't know. There was a bunch of like, what was it, Dragon Quest 10, Dragon Quest 11. Couldn't give a shit. There was a Square Enix RPG. If anybody has faith in Square Enix now, good for you, because I certainly don't. Zero cares given there. And then I found out that the games are going to cost $60, which, wow, $60 in Nintendo to get games that will probably barely run at 720p and all will be all guaranteed to be 30 frames per second. That's something, but there you go. Whoever buys this, good luck. Is there anything else I found? Oh, the online thing, yeah. Interesting. So, I thought the way that they salvaged this, and the way that they made this thing amazing, was that it would have free online. That's what I thought it would be. I thought they were going to mention online, and then I thought they were going to make it free. The console's quite cheap. Free online is a massive thing now. Sony had such an advantage when they had that. And they lost it when they made it paid. They'd already built an established fan base then at that point. They had a foundation, so it didn't really affect them too much. But that is such a strong tool in the competitive market of gaming. So I thought they were going to be like, yo dog, it's going to be free. And everybody would have gone nuts because it's a big thing now. Like, the only reason... Like, imagine if you're a PC gamer and somebody tries to explain to you that you pay to play games online. Just imagine that conversation. It's not going to end well for you, is it? The PC gamer is going to think you're a retard because he doesn't pay for it. He probably doesn't even pay for the games because it's the free C and everything. But this idea that it's now perfectly acceptable for us to pay for these underwhelming services that should be free has become ubiquitous and everybody's doing it. And we're spending so much money on services we shouldn't have to pay for, but we do because we're under the illusion that by paying money to it, it's much like our taxes, where we make that service better. Can you name a single thing that these services have really changed to make them better? Because I can't. I don't see greater stability. I don't see greater servers. I don't see anything. Like, I see nowhere where all this money goes. I don't see any improvements. I don't see better roads, getting rid of all the potholes. I don't. So, it's free money. They're printing free money because we're gullible fucks who don't PC game. And that's, like, it. So I really was hoping that was going to be the thing. And it's not. You have to pay, guys. So the online is just like everything else. They're going to whore you and steal your money. Which, you know, good for them. Nintendo realizing how to really fuck the consumer because everybody else does, so why not? But, oh, I've got some information here. It says, games run at a lower resolution undocked. So apparently when they're docked, they run at 1080p. So they can do 1080p, which is kind of hilarious considering that everything now is talking about all these 4K super sampling, upscaled, you know, checkerboard rendering nonsense. But when it's not docked, it's 720. So it immediately will sacrifice the resolution when it's not docked. Not a lot of people care about resolution, but if you've never gone back to 720p, you will see a difference, let me tell you now. It's the frame rate that I would be worried about, because they've shown me nothing in that press conference that ran at a consistent frame rate. So, other than maybe the ARMS, I think that ARMS was running quite consistently. It looked quite quick. And maybe a Street Fighter 2, because there was this montage of games, and one of them was a Super Turbo, which looked great. But that game's, 20-odd years old now? So if you're getting excited for a report of a game that's older than some of the people watching that conference, I can't help you. I really can't. Gaming conferences like this, in my opinion, are supposed to be about the future. They're supposed to be about new things. They're not supposed to be about nostalgia. And unfortunately, Nintendo seem to be the king of the nostalgia. And to me, it doesn't get me excited anymore. I hope it gets you excited, because I was watching the chat on Twitch and there was a lot of people that were really stoked. But I was just kind of sat there thinking, if this is all it takes for people to get excited, they're really cutting themselves short, because you deserve better, I think. And the Nintendo Switch, I hope it does really well, because there's still the Nintendo fanboy in me that wants them to do well and wants them to make great things. I don't think this is it.